Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to start hacking away at Nigel. Forgot my keys. Just last week, I was investigating the rather scabby looking bits around the arches when I discovered something a bit more serious. A hole developing around the sill, and I'd like to tackle it before it really gets much worse. So there's no point in sitting down, let's crack on. Apparently, somebody says that prevention is better than the cure. How about that? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just see if I can get these little holes developing before they turn into big holes, thus securing the future of this small car. But to do that, it's best to take the arch liner out. And underneath the arch liner that's been there for 23 years, bits of surface rust have developed in places because of obviously the dirt being trapped. So I think I need to sort that out first. I've loosened the rust up with a mixture of salt and vinegar and then used this to gently get rid of this stuff. Still looks a bit brown, but I haven't finished just yet. Still solid. And solid is the way it will stay. What I really need to do as well is unhook the suspension leg so I can get it right into the top of there. But unfortunately, I am, as ever, limited with time and limited with the dry. Now it's time for our old friend, panel wipe, which will get rid of some of the dirty, grotty, shitty, unfriendly bits that are knocking about there. This is the next step. I'm gonna paint some of this on. It's quite good stuff, this, so I'm happy to use it. The only trouble is you can't weld on it, so it's only really good for bits that you're not going to weld. But it doesn't need welding under there, so that's fine. Could do with an industrial sized bottle of this, because that is going to get used up fairly quickly with doing this sort of stuff. Can't go anywhere near that recovery truck with it. For lunch, some cold keema. Cold because I can't be bothered to clean out the microwave. No peas, not because I don't like them, I just didn't bother putting it in. After a while, the Genelite turns the rust off and just goes black instead, which is a good thing. It's creeping up this arch as well a bit. They're doing lots and lots of scraping. I have managed to create a hole in the sill and then another tiny one just there. This is where I've got to start getting really brave. It's not just scraping back, I've actually got to cut some holes out of the thing in order to put some new metal in it. In the time it took you to watch that cloud sequence, I cut a big chunk of metal out of my car. And now I'm thinking it's going to have to be a bit bigger after all. There's no point in me cutting it out and then a year later having to put another piece in. And now I'm kind of glad I didn't get around to selling this, because that there is just the right length for what I need. I decided to spare the repair panel for when it's needed for an actual repair that needs to look. What am I talking about now? No, keeping the repair panel because it's not long enough anyway. These are for a 5-door, that's a 3-door. The sills are slightly different, and I can make something out of that. That wing is, you know, the metal's good. Trust me, I'm a doctor. Obviously I'm going to clean this metal up, but I've just drawn the 2 crease lines where they should be in a rather optimistic attempt to try and make it look right. Cut my finger. Now, a foot-long piece of metal that I need to crease isn't really going to work in the vise, and I don't have a folding machine. But what I do have is a piece of angle that I've put into the vise. Hey, there's a point. I could easily cut this in half and make a folding machine out of a vise. Yeah, that might be for another day. But for the moment, I can simply use that angle to get that crease in it, I think. There, just got to line it up, then gently fold it over. There's my crease. Now I've just got to curve it a little bit as well. Did the crease the wrong way round. I'm having to start again. There we go. That is almost exactly as I need it to be. Every curve in the right place. I've just got to smooth it out and see if I can bung it on without any problems. They ain't go any further though until I've had myself a lovely cup of tea. Yes, I'm happy with that. All of the curves are in the right place. It's the right length. It should just go on without too much hassle. So now I've just got to set the paint of it, drill some holes in it to spot weld it, and that's it. Making it sound a bit too easy, I reckon. It is absolutely typical that the welding coincided exactly with it starting to rain. So I barely got 2 tacks on and I had to bring it all in. And then the tacks fell off because I forgot to put the gas on. And then the rain stopped and I did consider just pulling it all back out again, but part of me thinks better not. Just as well because it's happening again. But in the meantime, as a precaution, I've just simply covered this up with some tent tape. Whilst I were at it, I've painted that drum silver. I think the silver drum looks quite good actually. Yet again, this has just been a fabulous day. I've really enjoyed it. Even though I couldn't get it finished off because of the rain, it hasn't blunted my spirits in the slightest. I mean, it did when it started. In actual fact, I might have effed and jeffed ever so slightly, but not so that you'd notice, because I didn't bother recording that. Why would you want to hear that? Welcome to Sunday, where I shall finish this job off. And as much as I was disappointed by the rain just as I got started yesterday, maybe that's a good thing. I'm actually going to use a bit of practice on some scrap metal. In other words, this now rather empty looking wing. It's been a good wing, this. Next time I need to take a car apart because it's not worthwhile saving, I will definitely keep panels that actually aren't any good. Two things I was concerned about running out of: milk and petrol. Yeah, the generator started to go a jerk, which means it's not getting quite enough feed. So I've had a nice little trip out. Now time for the long journey back to the lockup, which should take me approximately another 10 seconds. Welcome back to the yard. It's Fix-It Carl, who's had quite a lot of welding experience and offered to pop down and give me a few tips in exchange for a cup of tea or two. If we get a break from the precipitation, I'm going to come back down and just carry on going with it. Otherwise it's going to have to wait. If I'm going to go and spend a couple of hours at home and free myself up to a bit more sunshine before it goes dark, I will stay down here until it gets dark. What would I rather be doing? Watching television or welding? Welding. What would I rather be doing? Taking the dog for a walk or welding? Welding. What would I rather be doing? reading Stephen Hawking's A Brief History of Time for the third time in some hope that some of it will stick, or welding. For the moment, welding. I don't hide stuff. I don't pretend I can do things when I can't. I just try and do them and show that I can't. But the best thing about that is you can see the progress. And I certainly can't pretend it's not raining. There's absolutely no chance of me putting that sill repair onto Nigel today. But I can carry on doing some welding practice in here to ensure that when I do get around to it, when I have the opportunity, it will be a good job. We're going to get a lot more of this back to clean metal and just weld and weld until I nail it. But in the meantime, my inexperienced welding didn't stop this car from getting an MOT, because I did fill every hole. It just doesn't look very good. But it's solid, and it'll do. I keep going, bird shit weld after bird shit weld. I'm determined I will get there eventually. And now I've got to cut loads more pieces. That's the last try for the night. I'm not satisfied. Just one more go, and then just one more go, and then just one more go. And every time it's still not really getting there. But I can't just call it quits, even though it's starting to lose light out here. Just one more cut and one more go of it, and that's it. This really is the rat look. I've done so many attempts and every time it's still just not right. And I can't help think, I wish I'd done this 20 years ago when my eyes were still perfectly good. Sounds like an excuse, doesn't it? But I do need reading glasses, so as close as I need to be, it's all out of focus. And stop making excuses, just have another go. Come on, before it goes dark. I'm still not ready yet. It's just practice and more practice and more practice. A bit like learning to play the piano or the guitar and you're just doing scales all the time when all you want to do is knock a tune out. That's how I'm beginning to feel. But it will pay off in the end. So the real disappointment is that I finished this video without a success. And there's no guarantee that by the end of the next video there'll be a success either. But there is a guarantee that I won't give up. So thank you very much for watching, and thanks for being a channel member, and thanks for being a subscriber, and somebody who comments, and somebody who likes, and somebody who... I forgot what I was going to say. Well, after last night of spending ages practicing and watched a couple more videos, I realised something I was doing slightly wrong and decided I've got my patch for Nigel and it fits really, really snugly. So why not just give it a go? If it goes wrong, I can always take it off and start it again. Anyway, something has gone wrong, and it's not the welding. It's something else. And I'm going to be a bit of an arsehole here and not even tell you what it is. However, what I suspect has gone wrong may be responsible for why I was struggling last night. And that means there's nothing I can do about it now until I go and rectify the situation, if that's possible. So, until next time, I'm just going to leave it hanging there. Sorry. I don't want to tell you what it is, but I will do in the next video. So, bye bye.